Alright, so today I want to talk about something that is different from my live reactions or my reviews, and that is going to be a discussion video about Shanks, not Shanks. A discussion video about Ace and how he is a tragic hero. Or in his case, it's more of a tragic anti-hero because as much as we love the characters of One Piece follows criminals. The main characters are all technically criminals. They are pirates. And they're not exactly known for doing upstanding things. None of them are running charities or, going on walks for cancer or anything like that. They are pirates. So, with that being said, it's going to be a video about Ace being a tragic hero. So, to start, what exactly is a tragic hero? And I looked up a couple things on the internet. I vaguely remember it from taking some English classes and things like that in high school and college, but a definition that I like that I found is that a tragic hero is a person of noble birth with heroic or potentially heroic qualities. Okay, so noble birth. In Ace's case, it's not necessarily noble birth. Well, it is in a different sense. It's not like he is a celestial dragon, but he is the son of the king of the pirates, Goldie Roger, obviously. So that is, in and of itself, enough to be considered at least noble. And with heroic or potentially heroic qualities, Ace has those qualities, as you can see in his abilities, how he became a 2nd Division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates. A lot of things were going his way. Keyword were. But, so this person is fated by the gods or some supernatural force to doom and destruction, or at least to great suffering. If that force is the will of D, it might be. I'm not sure how much Oda has gone into Ace being a tragic hero, but I think there is enough evidence throughout the story that he is indeed one. And the last little tidbit is, but the hero struggles mightily against the fate, and this cosmic conflict wins our admiration. So obviously everybody loves Ace. He's a great character. If you don't like Ace, then I don't know. He's the older brother of Luffy. He's very redeemable to most of us. He's a badass, totally destroys stuff all the time. You don't want to mess with him. So I think he obviously wins many of the fans' admirations. That's why people are still buying Ace things to this day. So a tragic hero is that definition, but it's broken down further by Aristotle into 6, I don't want to say categories, but things that, I don't know, it's almost a checklist. Things that this character has as a part of his personality, or things that he has to go through in order to meet the qualities to be a tragic hero. So he meets the base qualities, obviously, but if you want to delve into it a little bit more, which we are going to, that is what we'll go into next. Alright, so with the 6 qualities that Aristotle has brought up, they are, I'm probably going to butcher some of these words, so bear with me. Hamartia, hubris, which a lot of people probably already know, parapatiae, anagnorisis, nemesis, again, something people might already know of, or at least heard, but it's a little bit different in the context that he puts it in, and catharsis, which is another thing that I'm sure many people have already heard of. That being said, we'll start off with Hamartia. We'll just go down the list, and we'll talk about each point and how Ace fulfills these points. So with Hamartia, it is a tragic flaw that causes the downfall of a hero. In Ace's case, his tragic flaw, I would say, would be the fact that he cannot let things go. The 2 biggest examples in the story are, one, when Thatch dies and he goes running off after Blackbeard. The entire crew is like, dude, stay. Even Whitebeard said, like, don't bother this time. We don't want to get involved with this. That devil fruit is something we don't really want to mess with, especially since none of us probably have any of the means to fight against it, as we see when Ace ends up fighting Blackbeard and he loses. If the whole crew went after him, maybe it would be a little bit different, but they didn't. The biggest pull for this is even Whitebeard says, no, Ace, stay. I'm going to let it go this time. I have a bad feeling about this. And Ace is still like, nah, I'm going. Don't care what anybody says. Even you, Pops. Like, I'm going after him. So that would be the first example of the fact that he just cannot let things go. And the second example is when Akainu starts talking shit to him and Marineford. If he could just, even I'm pretty sure it was Marco is like, Ace, he's just trying to get a rise out of you. We all need to fucking hightail it out of here. That's what Whitebeard said. We all gotta leave. And he's like, nah, you're talking shit about Whitebeard. Akainu is about to go down. And if Ace could just get over that, he might not have died. I mean, again, if Akainu still ended up going after Luffy, Ace would have sacrificed himself for him without a doubt. But maybe if he ran off in the first place, the situation would have been a little bit different. So that is Hamartia, and I definitely think that Ace has no problem filling that category. The fact that he just cannot let things go is something that has haunted him throughout the entire story. Even the fact that Goldie Roger, or Gold Roger, was his father was something that he could not get over. He goes to Garp, he's like, was it okay that I was born? And he's fighting all those people at Goa Kingdom, and as they're talking shit about Roger, and it's just, dude, just let it go. Just let it go. But he can't. So that is Hamartia. Okay, our second topic on the list here is Perpetuae. I'm definitely butchering the pronunciation of this. These are all Greek words. English is my only language, so bear with me. um, just to remind you, Perpetuae is the reversal of fate that the hero experiences. The way I understand this is the reversal of fate from a life of a hero, you know, things going right. With Oedipus, he kind of had a similar issue. Everything was going right for him, then he ignored the fortune teller who was telling him, like, yo, you're going to kill your dad, and all this shit's going to go south. So there is a point where things are going well for the character. And a good example of this is at the very beginning of the Marineford arc, where the fight actually starts. They do a flashback of Ace and Whitebeard. And it's how Ace gets on the ship, and things start really going well for him. All those like nameless characters are like, man, you should be the 2nd Division commander and whatnot. And Marco and Thatch are starting to get all buddy-buddy with him, and they have the party for him, and they're like, come on, you're the celebrity here, have a good time. Then he falls asleep while he's eating. But that is the high point, I want to say, of Ace's, not his life maybe, but that's where when things are going really well for him, and it's like a hero. The turning point here is obviously when Thatch is killed. That is where the reversal starts. I would say getting imprisoned and impaled down is where it is fully solidified. Maybe losing to Blackbeard is the part where you're like, okay, the reversal of your fate, things are going smooth, and now things have taken a dive. So that would be the Perpetuae, or again, however you pronounce it. The reversal of fate that a hero experiences. Things are going well for him. He's out on the seas, becomes the 2nd Division commander of the Blackbeard Pirates, and then he gets beaten up by Blackboard and stuck and impaled down. All right, we're going to move on to our third one, which is Anagnorisis. Again, ignore the butchering of these words. And this is a moment in time when the hero makes an important discovery in the story. This is something that I have 2 main things as important discoveries for him. One would be very early on in his life when he finds out that Goldie Roger is his father. I think that's something that I believe it subconsciously drives him to be the type of person he is. He kind of wants to outdo Goldie Roger in a sense, because he hates him so much, and he's like, Dad was never around kind of thing. But that is one thing. I think that helps spur him on to becoming a pirate, etc., etc. The second one is when he finds out that Thatch was killed by Blackbeard. That is probably the most important discovery that he makes, because it sets up the entire downfall of his character. Him losing the Blackbeard, going to impel down, and eventually being killed by Akainu. So that would be that one. Again, that is Anagnorisis. Okay, so our next one is a very big one. It is hubris. Obviously, if you've heard the word before in an English class or something, it's almost like human pride, or pride to an excessive extent. Not just being like, oh, I'm really glad I did well on that test, I'm proud of myself. It's pride to the extent that you do foolish things because of it. The way that it is described by Aristotle is excessive pride and disrespect for the natural order of things. I'm not sure if the natural order of things really applies, but that's how he describes it. In Ace's case, he kind of thinks he's a hot shit. Boom, bad joke there. Literally and figuratively. He's very confident in his abilities, and this is shown, I think, one, when he's fighting Blackbeard. Blackbeard's like, oh, look what I did to the town with my devil fruit. And then Ace is like, oh, well, you're fighting me. So, like, bring it kind of thing. And secondly, when he originally gets on a Whitebeard ship, he spends day after day trying to kill Whitebeard, and he just does not let go of the fact that he wants to, like, kill Whitebeard and be the strongest man in the seas. But there's even one of the times when he gets, like, kicked off the ship into the water. One of the crewmates is like, that must be like the 100th time now or something. So definitely has some pride that he can't swallow. And obviously that's shown when he takes on Akainu. It's shown when he takes on Blackbeard. Just about everything he does is him just kind of being arrogant. The only time you don't really see that is when he is in the loving brother role of Luffy, when he's like, oh, you gotta help your bungling brother, when he was in Alabasta, or when he obviously sacrifices himself for Luffy. But when he's on his own and just like fighting people, he's kind of cocky, and you see that. And I mean, his Logi is pretty badass, so he kind of has a reason to be cocky, but it becomes his downfall because he essentially thinks he's invincible, especially against Akainu, who is, his Devil Fruit is just like a step above Ace's, and there's kind of nothing you can do about that. Ace apparently knew Conqueror's Haki, but he never really showed any armament or observation Haki, and I kind of think that is something to be used, because they said, I'm pretty sure Oda said that, or no, maybe it was Rayleigh, but Oda wrote it, so Oda said that characters usually specialize in one of the three types, with the exception of Luffy, who's the main character, so of course he's going to be good at all three of them. So maybe Ace just specialized in Conqueror's Haki, and that's why you never see an example of armament or observation. But regardless, he definitely has some excessive pride. Alright, so this next one is going to be a little bit different in the way that we think of the word nowadays, and that is the word nemesis. You hear nemesis, you think of your arch enemy, your rival, something to that nature. The way that Aristotle describes it is nemesis, a punishment that the protagonist cannot avoid, usually occurring as a result of his hubris. And the punishment could be seen as two different things. One, it could be him losing to Blackbeard and being put in Impel Down, and two, it could be his punishment is him dying. But it says it's usually a result of his hubris, so I want to take him being killed by Akainu off, because that was not hubris related. Maybe you could say it was because he picked the fight with Akainu after Akainu started talking shit to him, but he essentially sacrificed himself for Luffy, and someone who's full of hubris probably wouldn't do that kind of thing. So I want to say it is mainly him losing to Blackbeard and being put in Impel Down. That is the punishment that he cannot avoid, and that is something that is obviously critical to the series. If he wasn't put in Impel Down, the entire, 120 episodes from Shibundi Archipelago to the beginning of the New World again would have no point. So I would like to say that is my answer. I'm going to go with the punishment he cannot avoid is being put into Impel Down, because, again, of his hubris, his inability to let things go, and he just has to chase after Whitebeard. He has to talk shit to Whitebeard and Blackbeard. He has to talk shit to Blackbeard, thinking he's going to win, and then he eventually loses and is put into Impel Down. So that would be, again, nemesis, and that is a punishment that the protagonist cannot avoid, usually occurring as a result of his hubris. Okay, the last section of the 6 defining characteristics or attributes or check boxes on what makes a tragic hero would be catharsis. And this is something that is usually the audience will feel more so than the character fulfilling this trait. But it is catharsis, feelings of pity and fear felt by the audience for the inevitable downfall of the protagonist. And this is obvious to anyone who has read or watched One Piece. Everybody likes Ace, and you feel for Ace. Obviously, it sucks when you watch him die on screen. He gets put in prison. That sucks. You feel all these emotions for the guy, and you're just like, damn, at the same time, because of his hubris and everything, these are things that could have been avoided if he, kind of thought a little bit or was a little less reckless. But you feel these emotions, and it's obvious you feel the emotions because, one, you see the bond that him and Luffy have, and that's something that is like so pure in this story when there's all these characters that are doing bad things, and it's just like, oh my god, that's heart-wrenching to see. Watch him die on screen, essentially in Luffy's arms, and you're just like, oof, that's some heavy stuff. So the audience definitely feels. I don't know how you can watch this show and not like, number one, like Ace as a character, and number two, just feel it tug at your heartstrings when he dies. But that would be the last, I guess, category that you would need to fall into to be considered a tragic hero. I definitely think he's a tragic hero. He kind of fits the bill for all of these in one way or another. If you disagree, that's fine. Feel free to tell me why you disagree. But I think he was designed by Oda to be the perfect tragic hero that would spur on Luffy and kind of harden Luffy's resolve to become the Pirate King and to move on, to get stronger, and to have the emotional strength that he's going to need to take on the Yonko and eventually the world government. But with that being said, that's all I got for my video here. Ace, obviously, in my opinion, is a tragic hero. Let me know what you think about it. Like, comment, subscribe, do all those things you got to do. And yeah, this is Mugiwara Vids, and that's going to be it for me tonight. Have a good one.